This is a very exciting Thursday nighter. Saints at Cowboys, Donnie. Do you see any angles early in the week?
I love this game. I think it's a great game. And also, let's keep in mind here, when we always bang the drum on Thursday night football teams that it's an unfair advantage, let's keep in mind this isn't a true Thursday night road game. The same way you want to throw the first Thursday night game of the season out, which was the Philadelphia Eagles and the Atlanta Falcons. Both those teams come in with equal rest, equal times amount of prepare, and travel days aren't that big of a deal. Both of these teams played last on Thanksgiving. They have a full 7 days of rest. So if you're using any part of a Thursday night road team here, take that completely out of your situation. That's not going to help. Now, the Cowboys would have loved it if this was a true Thursday road game to get the Saints on a short work week and try to knock them down. But I still look, there's some really good components in here that you like, even if you're going to back the Dallas Cowboys. Number one, they're generally a good home football team. Outside of that clunker they threw in versus the Tennessee Titans, if you look game by game, they're always going to keep it in it. Why is that? The reemergence here, Jimmy, of the Dallas Cowboys defense. Really good front four. Two really athletic linebackers that have really stepped it up in their back seven, but also you're getting some good play out of the secondary as well. When all three of those forces, your front four, the linebackers, and the back end are working in unison like they have been, you're going to be in football games because not many teams are playing very good or elite defense. It looks like the Dallas Cowboys have sort of cornered that market and turned the page on defense. The one thing that's going to hurt them a little bit, and it always is going to, is what do you get out of Dak Prescott? Because, again, he's a dink-and-dunk quarterback. That's not how you beat the New Orleans Saints. You're going to have to man up. You're going to have to take shots deep. You're going to have big plays. If you think it's going to be one of those games where, hey, Zeke's going to run the ball a lot and we're going to try to beat the Saints, you have to open it up and go toe-to-toe with them. But the one thing I do like, as I said, I think the Dallas Cowboys front seven can get pressure on Drew Brees. That's what they've been doing all year long. They're living in opposing teams' backfield, which is enormous in this game. And let's not forget, Jimmy, you can hang around if you're the Dallas Cowboys and win this game and cover your spread. You're getting 7.5 right now, as it seems. I'm trying to build a case to take those Dallas Cowboys here to knock down my Super Bowl champion, New Orleans Saints.
Wow, Super Bowl champion, New Orleans Saints. Oh, that is so exciting. What an incredible season they've put together. Very interesting stuff coming from the chat. Tomor says, Dak has been good when Zeke runs for 100 yards. He's struggled when Dallas can't run even at home. Bill Butler says, I think the Cowboys secondary can match up with the Saints wide receiving core. That might be another week of weird dude catching TDs from Breeze or lots and lots of Kamara. He hasn't been used as much recently. Tomor says Dallas has a good front seven, but a weak secondary. Saints can protect Breeze, and he gets the ball out early. Bill Butler talking about the number one run D. And then we've got some interesting stuff here. Just take the over and cash a ticket, says DT Duggs. This market for the over is going up. Open at 51.5. There's actually a couple 53.5s on the board. What do you think about what our man DT Duggs is saying about that over?
Yeah, it's hard to take unders. I mean, you're going to notoriously, unless the game is a stone cold under, it's going to go over. It doesn't even seem like the number even makes a difference at this point. Whether or not the game comes down late, you're going to be within that chance of actually hitting the over. But both of these teams, to me in this game, don't seem like it's going to be big strike offenses because they have elite ground games and two defenses that, number one, I mean, Dak Prescott in that offense, unless you're going to throw to Amari Cooper 7 yards over the middle and there's going to be routinely breaks in coverage and he's going to run 65 yards with the football, then yeah, that's going to be an easy over. But I don't see that type of thing. Both of these teams can get after it. I think both of the teams will settle into a running game. And if you are the Dallas Cowboys, which, yes, you do have to go toe-to-toe if you want to beat this team, but Zeke is going to be heavily into this football game as well as Alvin Kamara and Ingram. Outside of Thomas, where are the big play weapons? I mean, unless Drew Brees is throwing you open and going downfield, they don't have that big-time wide receiver who can get downfield. Michael Thomas is great, but let's not forget, Byron Jones on the other side. He is an elite cornerback with elite athletic ability. He's going to be able to match up and slow down Thomas, which I think you're going to see more first downs, as we like to say, than touchdowns. But it's hard. It's hard taking unders. It really is because they're just doomed to get beat. You can have a game like I had on Sunday. I took an under in the Carolina game, 3-0 at the end of the first quarter. They end up eviscerating that the rest of the game. That's just the way it is in the NFL. But when you look at styles and the way teams like to play here, it says under to me. But again, taking an under, you're just, praying to God that it stays under the total.
We did have a beautiful under on that 49ers Buccaneers game.
Yes,
deciding that Mullins was a rookie quarterback. Yeah. We capped that game beautifully, absolutely beautifully. So we still can find those unders when the time is right. And you've done a great job doing it this year. So don't let that Seahawks game, make you uncomfortable because you've done a great job. We have royalty joining us right now as well, Donnie. Randall Warford in the house. His uncle, Larry Warford, made the Pro Bowl last year, plays for the Saints. Thank you for joining us, Randall. Trey
Yes.
Franklin says, guys, we have to look at the coaches in this game. I'll take the Saints. That's an easy way to
Yeah.
look at it.
Uh-huh.
It's an easy way to look at it. But this is a lot of points for a road team. But do you take away the whole advantage that the home teams have because they've had full 7 days? So can we put a line through that? Don't take a road team on Thursdays because they've had 7 days to prepare?
Yep.
Yeah?
Gone. It's not a true third. This might as well be a Sunday game, Jimmy, the way it actually panned out. And both of these teams, I think, would like the fact that they're playing on Thursday and not Sunday because you extend that rest off into the next week or you get into the backstretch, like for the Dallas Cowboys. What a nice way to do it. You're going to have a big game at home versus New Orleans Saints, but you get that little breathing room before you got to go play Philadelphia the following week at home. So I think they both like the fact that this is a Thursday night game and not a true Thursday night road game.
I think that makes a ton of sense. Clint Richardson says, hi, Jimmy, let's pretend you never liked the Raiders. Hey, it was 2017 going into the fourth quarter, Clint.
Yeah,
2017 going into, if that fumble hadn't happened,
Defensive
I would look like
touchdown,
a genius, Clint. Okay,
Yep.
let's move on
Yeah.
to the next game.
Get that out of the way.
I don't know exactly what to do at this point. I find the 7.5 very appealing. I'm very uncomfortable getting in the way of the Saints. I find that total uncomfortable because clearly Dallas needs to keep the Saints offense off the field, and they have just the man to do that with Zeke and with Dak. Couldn't you see the Cowboys trying to run the clock nonstop in this game, Donnie?
Yeah, no, you're right. And you know what? Yeah, you have to look at what teams have played because, you try to take the final scores out of the equation. Minnesota was the better football team when they played the New Orleans Saints. But if you're going to have a Kirk Cousins ridiculous pick six and a fumble at the end of the half, Minnesota should have won that game. And Minnesota's a pretty formidable defense. Now, if you looked at the past couple of games that New Orleans has played at home against the Rams, it's going to be a shootout. The Rams defense isn't anything to shake a stick at. You go on the road against a dead Cincinnati team and a terrible defense that they have. And then you have the Philadelphia Eagles who were down like 19 players in their secondary and in a bad spot, and you blew them off the map. And then you saw the Atlanta game. Boy, maybe that's a little bit different game, Jimmy, if we don't fumble every time inside the 5-yard line and really press the issue. So I think you're going to level up in competition on defense, and you're going on the road. You're laying more than a touchdown. So we'll see what happens here.
We will see what happens. Nobody screaming, take the Cowboys here, except for our man Adam Friendo Cumbo, who loves it. Everybody else leaning towards the Saints. Oh, gosh, this is such an exciting game. I just wish we could hammer it again on Friday. This game is not one of those. It goes off Thursday, so you'll have to follow Donnie and I on our individual shows. Donnie on Right Side of Campus and myself on Lojack and Bag as we break down this further towards the Thursday night. But great comments from the chat.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.